Ladies, I don't know if you're like me, but I like my conversations like I like my drinks. Straight, no chaser. Is that job killing your soul? Well, it's time to leave that cubicle farm and dump that job like a bad ex-boyfriend and leap into entrepreneurship full time. I am Linda Otterbridge, your host of the No Plan B Entrepreneur Podcast, where I interview fierce lady bosses who have pursued their dreams and did so without a safety net. Welcome to the No Plan B Entrepreneur Podcast. Our guest is none other than Jovonne Walker. And today we're going to be talking to Miss Jovonne because this lady posted something on Facebook and I read it and I was like, what the flim flam? I said, oh yeah, I got to catch her because this one had just walked off her job of 12 years just recently. So because the show is a No Plan B Entrepreneur Straight No Chaser Conversations, I look for people like Miss Jovonne to really talk about what was it like for her and how she did it, why she did it, and all the above. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Miss Jovonne Walker and what led me to emailing, texting her, stalking her the minute I saw her post. So this is what she wrote on Facebook. So she says, on March 29th, March 29th, 2019, I did something that I consider scary and rewarding all at the same time. I resigned from a company that helped me to shape my career in professional development for over 12 years and decided to pursue my dreams as a full-time entrepreneur. When I tell you it was one of the scariest things, I promise you it was. You see, I felt extremely stuck where I was. This left me stagnant in many areas of my life. I felt like my creativity was at an all-time low and I couldn't really think clearly. I felt like I was praying the same thing every day without really seeing a difference. I didn't feel like eating healthy, working out because I felt drained from the thought of things not really shaping up for me. It was nothing against the company I worked for, but it was all about me seeing myself from a different lens, the way in which God saw me. To overcome the feeling of being stuck, I had to look more at the future as opposed to my current situation. I had to revisit the dreams that God gave me and push to work on making them happen. And boy, did she. Whew. You see, God doesn't just show you glimpses of your future just to show you. He wants you to apply the action of believing that it can happen for you. Once you believe and have a willing heart to pursue, He will begin to show you more and provide opportunity for those dreams to manifest. Prior to leaving my job, I was extremely nervous to go, but the whole time I kept hearing God say, "Don't worry, I've got you." I went back and forth in my mind like I knew exactly what I am getting paid each month, and I knew exactly what benefits will keep me healthy and wealthy. LOL. But I still kept hearing God say, "Don't worry, I've got you." A whole month and a few days have just passed, and based on God's promise, a whole month and a few days have passed, and based on God's promise, I see Him moving on my behalf from new opportunities to continue professional growth and more. I definitely know this is a God thing because your girl doesn't make not nonsensical decisions. I love that nonsensical decisions. As a result of this, I am even more pumped to encourage others to chase their dreams, pursue their passions, and be the best leader that God has designed them to be. For those of you who don't know what I do, what Jovonne does, she is a marketing coach. She teaches entrepreneurs how to build content marketing strategies that help them target their ideal clients, create brand messaging that speaks directly to those clients. Her purpose is to help them win with words in a way that from client, pushes them from client, oh my God, pushes them from client ghost town to clients on repeat. Got it. She offers group coaching, webinars, and workshops. So be sure to check her out. But today, here we go. Miss Jovonne Walker. Oh my God. How was that with me rereading that post you wrote on Facebook that day?
That was really good. First of all, thank you for having me on.
Oh my goodness.
It's when you read it, it was like, oh my gosh, I wrote all that. But
you did.
It really was where I was when I wrote it and how I felt even prior to stepping out there. I can definitely tell you that the fear factor was real. And
Oh my goodness.
that's why it was so enunciated per se, even in that message there. So, that was just a reminiscent of like where I was, and then knowing that where I am now is a totally different situation, and God still has me. So it was, good job for reading it, and like kind of helping me to see exactly some of the areas in which I've come from as well.
Yeah. Good job for being transparent, because that was quite transparent. I said, boy, she put all that on Facebook. And that's how it is. You have to
Yeah.
almost get it out, because you have it in your head, but you almost have to say it, write it down. And you shared that with everyone. And I can tell you, I saw your feed. You weren't out there alone. People were responding back. People were interested in, how you do it, and how are you doing now. And I don't even know how long it was on the feed before I hit you. I was like, ooh, 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 I gotta catch her now, because she's gonna get very, very busy, extremely busy, extremely fast. So we spoke, a couple times, and we emailed, text back and forth, because I knew for this being a new podcast, I need to have you on here, because someone who newly just jumped into leaping from your employee status to your entrepreneurship status. So let's just get right in. Tell me about your business. Tell us about your business, what you do.
Okay. So I am a marketing coach, and as you read prior, but I'll give you a little bit more detail. I help businesses, or I help entrepreneurs and small business leaders to build content marketing strategies, of course, that get their target client, right, that build their business in terms of a planning perspective, as well as I have this program called a client on repeat system. So it's a system that is used for communication practices, understanding how to really gain the right clients, as well as communicating to them in a way that they will continue to stick with you, and they will continue to be loyal to you too. I'm big on communication. That's just the premise of starting my business. I started in 2015 in terms of content writing and content editing, and helping people to really push out their right content on their pages and on their websites and all that stuff. So now that I'm in the place of teaching and instructing and doing coaching, it's like I really want to make sure that people know that, because that's what's customer service is where it's at. If you're not leaving a positive message with your customers, they're not coming back to you. So
I agree with you forthwith. I definitely agree, because it is I call it you're marketing your brand, but you're also I always like to say I can't think. See, I can't think now. I had so much to say, but I can't think of it. But you're your walking advertisement. No matter what you say, what you do, what you wear, all that is a part of branding. So just whether it's writing a little script on Facebook, writing an email, writing a text, to be mindful of that. And I know I'm a rushed. I just text all day because I'm at work. See, don't you miss work? You got to rush and try to text while you're at work. You got to go to the restroom and try to hurry up and send a message out. Don't you miss all that, like employee/entrepreneurial stuff? Don't you miss that?
No, I don't miss it. It was like one of the most stressful pieces that I experienced, honestly. Like, in the past year, I have been saying, I would tell friends and family, like, I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving the job that I'm in. I'm just not sure when. And it was, that whole fear factor thing, because I would be thinking of like, I was thinking about the benefits. Okay, I'm getting paid every month. I know exactly where it's coming from.
Yes.
I know, what's happening every month. I know what my budget is set to and all this stuff. But shifting gears was a totally different thing. And then and I even went to a place of whether or not I was really hungry for the entrepreneurship thing. Like, okay, I say I want to do this, but I'm not even doing anything right now. But I realized that part of me not doing anything at those moments was because I felt drained, because I felt stuck.
Right.
I felt like I couldn't, like I was trying to make things happen in corporate America, like trying to get to new heights and trying to get to new positions, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I'm like, well, my business isn't where it needs to be right now for me to just take a leap and do this.
Right.
So, like, what do I do? And so I'm like kind of stagnant in how I approach things, and it affected, how I was even thinking at that time. But as mentioned, even in that message that I posted, I did have to take an assessment of, the dreams that God had for me, like knowing that he was still talking to me about what my future was, and really listening to him in that process is what enabled me pretty much to just go ahead and just follow in on what he was saying and just make it official, so that I would not be in a frustrated place of, trying to do a little bit on the side of my desk for my business.
Yes.
Really want to make that my full desk, you know what I'm saying? So
I love that.
what that was all about. But, just hearkening and listening and paying attention to, and just being focused and being hungry enough to make it happen, is what really, really drove me to just making it, taking that leap.
And boy, did you.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long these conversations have been going on in your head and how long you've been talking to God about it, but when you did it, you were ready. And when I say the no plan B entrepreneur, that's basically what I'm talking about. Most people think I'm talking about like, the no plan B, like you just leave without a plan and what I'm gonna do for money. No, I'm not talking about that. I mean, making that jump, that leap, your only plan, no option of going back, no plan B. This is the only plan I have, so it's going to work. I'm gonna make sure it works because I'm not going back to the cubicle farm.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. She says, no, thank you. Not going back.
No,
so with that, tell me more about, because I like the way you led into your processes and things that you had talked about, your the money, because that is the main thing that I think, especially me, because I'm still in and on the cubicle farm, is thinking about those benefits, the money, and okay, how am I gonna, let's see, how am I gonna replace this salary? What am I gonna do for medical benefits? 403B, all the other benefits they have. So yes, that carrot is always dangling there.
Exactly.
That you don't want to leave from.
Yeah, definitely.
So there is a lot. So that's the part that, when I think of, for me, that I think of, and I'm sure everyone else, because you talked a little bit about it as well, is it's hard to leave unless you have it together. Piecing it together, and that's what I'm doing, and everybody else who's doing entrepreneurship on the side hustles, we're piecing it together because we're not doing it full time, so we're not putting all our energy, time, and effort in it because we have that backup check. We have that check, so we don't really have to put all that time into it. But I would like to know if you can tell me more about any partnership ventures or other people you're working with.
All right. So other things that I do. So as I mentioned before, I do workshops. And one thing that I do or have a partnership with is an organization here in Cincinnati where I teach marketing classes to their incubator students, pretty much students that are going through the business growth process, trying to figure out how to build a business, how to grow a business, how to build a brand, of all those things. So I teach marketing to that, which is like a quarterly thing. That's
great.
I have with them, and the Greater Cincinnati Micro Enterprise Initiative that I assist with. And then other things that I do, I'm reaching out to a number of organizations within Ohio to present more in terms of marketing workshops. Another workshop that I've done, I did 2 workshops with the Microsoft store about content marketing for small business.
Oh, good.
So understanding how to deliver a pitch that converts. So a lot of things that I've, in terms of partnership, is all about the teaching piece.
Right.
And that's where the growth is. And then being that it is a plan, there's no plan B for going back to working for someone else. I'm always open to other opportunities to invest in things. And so those are some things that I have been looking into, like more so into potentially doing real estate investment, and other types of investments out there. I am like big in investments. I kind of started stock market when I was younger and kind of studied it.
Look at you.
Yeah. And I'm talking about when I was younger, I was like a whole 13. Studied stock market a little bit. So that's some things that those are.
No, did she say a whole 13? I got back up. Did you say a whole 13?
Learning how to build in the stock market. I used to do the stock market challenges, like the free things where you have play money and you kind of work with it.
Right.
So I how to build funds off of stock as well. And so those are things that I do in terms of investment, just to build some level of income so that I can always have something to kind of fall onto. And that's like the overall process of just working it out and making things happen. It's and realizing like, listen, I'm hungry for something, so I'm not going to go back to where I was.
Right.
Funny thing is, like 2 weeks after I was outside of corporate America, like 2 weeks after I was like in this land of freedom, I had an interview with another corporate position at a different company.
Right.
And I'm like, am I supposed to take this? Like, I want to. I'm feeling this freedom and I'm loving it. Like, what in the world? So, you know, and I'm like literally telling God, like, God, if I'm not supposed to have this, or if I'm supposed to have this, you know, it's just for me. That's
right.
Supposed to. That's just what's going to happen. I had a really, really good interview. It was a phone interview with like 3 or 4 people. Really good. And then maybe about 3 weeks later, I got a message saying that I did not get the job. I felt like that was like amazing because I really didn't want to work for anybody. But I'm like, you know, maybe it was just God just wanted me to move out of here.
Testing you. He said, I'm going to test you. See.
So it was just one of those things. But, you know, going back, no plan B for going to a cubicle.
I love it. I love it. I just so admire you and other people who have done it because it is huge. And I love listening to the stories, and I think is by doing this, and the purpose of doing the show is because I know there's more than just me out there who want to know what it's like and want to eventually do our own thing, full time. But we do need those brave souls like yourself who can tell us what it's like for you. What did you do? What was the feeling like? What did you do to plan? Family, support system, mentor, coaches. What was what was in your corner that can lift you up and give you the strength you needed to do it. So that's why I'm always like, okay, I don't know if I could do it by myself. So tell me what other people that's in your life that's helping you, and that could be mentors, coaches, family, friends.
I would definitely say my family support. So everything I did, and when I told my dad, he was like, "Okay, good."
So cool. Okay.
You know, when I told my mom, she's like, "Just make sure that you're hearing from God," type thing, and still supportive at the same time. Friends have been very supportive because they know I've been talking about it forever. And even like when I posted,
they sure you're going to leave.
And some of them didn't know until I posted, and they're like, "You've been talking about this. I'm so proud of you. This is finally happening." So I've gotten that support. In terms of coaching is concerned, I do have a business coach, and she's actually a marketing coach as well. But she's been very supportive, just helping me to kind of see some different things I can maneuver through to just build out in this full-time entrepreneurship thing, because she's already there. She knows what the process is like. She's been doing full-time entrepreneurship for over 16 years. So she really, you know, can speak to a lot of things. So it's kind of like a mentorship for me.
Perfect person, huh?
Yeah. And then as well as, you know, in times past, I've had business mentors to help me to navigate and like write out a process and write out a plan. Or when I would talk about this a year and a half ago, it was just kind of like, yeah, I just want to work for myself, but I didn't have a goal. I didn't really have a real goal. Like, I want to make money. Yeah. But it's just like, how was I going to get there?
Right.
And I went through a program called SCORE Mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
And we have it here in Cincinnati. And so I had a mentor through that, and he kind of helped me to kind of just write things out, you know, helped me to see more about how I can structure things, what I do, so that I can really build up a legacy within the business, so that I can be a little bit more planned out and purposeful in what I'm doing too. So those are things that kind of help to prepare me. Overall mindset was, you know, a big preparation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can imagine.
Changing that mindset, and then seeing like what I need to do in terms of finances. Like, okay, say I have so much money that I have to save, or I have this, like for me, it was like I ended up getting a lump sum of money. So I would utilize that as like my saving power.
Okay.
You know, it was at least 3 months of income.
Okay.
So I did use that, and I also DoorDashed, if you know what that is. Like,
yes.
Whatever. So just to kind of pay down any extra bills, and all that stuff, so that I wouldn't feel like I'm overwhelmed per se. So those are some things that
you have a serious plan.
Yeah, like I was working. A lot of my plan was being worked, and I didn't even realize when it was going to happen. I just kept felt like every other month I'd be like, this got to be the month. Like this got to be the month, but I don't know. I really don't. But but it was just I was going through it, and one thing I like to share though, like when I started writing my letter of resignation,
Uh-huh.
I started it back in November, writing it, and because I realized like my motivation within the job that I was in was kind of low, because it was like the job I had been doing the work for a lengthy period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like my mind was like in a place where I need to be doing something bigger,
Right.
and talking more to people and all that stuff. I was at work in analysis work, so I was constantly in front of my computer, and all I was looking at was numbers, but I wasn't really getting FaceTime with
Right.
others to share and showcase and leadership skills and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten to a place where I was like, my motivation was dragging significantly, and I would always pray like, Lord, let me do everything to your glory, but at the same time I would just be like worn out.
Ooh.
And worn out emotionally, and worn out mentally
Oh,
too.
I can imagine.
Just trying to get to a really, light, like trying to get to that light at the end of the tunnel. It just felt like I was like in the very beginning of
Mm-hmm.
it. So those were some, things that I did and I went through. But, like in November, as I said, I started writing the letter, didn't know when it was going to happen. And, I would pray often, but then I stopped praying.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't even know if I'm really hearing or if it's just me saying go, because
Right.
I'm tired. And so I kind of stopped praying, and like all of a sudden it was just like, yeah, it's time. You
Right.
can. And when I did it, it was just like, it was like the morning I turned in my letter of resignation, I heard the whole song. I don't know if you're familiar with this one particular song. It's like by Oceans. It's called Oceans. And it's like, a spirit lead me where my trust is not
Oh
without,
no.
then let me walk on the water.
Oh no, I don't know that one, but I like where you're going with it.
That song was literally
Oh my goodness.
like just playing over and over in my head, to the point where I'm like, I got to do it. I'm not going to fail. It's gonna be different, but it's gonna be amazing at the same time. And
I got a fan.
I,
Oof.
as soon as I did it, I felt relieved. Like I felt like the stress was, as soon as I had the meetings with two of my supervisors, I felt like the weight was lifted.
Right. See, I did it. It's over.
Yeah,
Done. I'm not coming back.
yeah, yeah. So that was good. It was like the first steps of being good. I still had that fear piece though,
Right.
because it is something brand new. But it was
That's a
just,
huge leap. So I'm sure you can't get over that. That's huge.
and then I even like going back to that support system, talking to the people that are in my system. Like I'm texting my mom and she's not responding, and
Like,
so
I did it. I did it. Where are you?
and then I call her and tell her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, okay, so what's going on? What are we gonna do? How is it gonna happen?" And called like one of my best friends and like, "Hey, I did it," and she's like, "You did what?" Like,
You
so
really didn't tell anyone. You just did it and then call people.
yeah, like I mean, I had been talking about it. Yeah, exactly. I had been talking about it for so long. They knew it was
Uh-huh.
going to happen. They didn't know when, you know. But it was like when I heard God say, "Do it," just I did it, and I felt like by that time, if I can hear Him, I don't necessarily need anybody to make sure that it was Him that I heard.
Right. So I know what I heard. He said,
Yeah,
go today.
yeah. So
Oh my goodness. Now that's a story. Now people are going to hear that message and God's going to tell them to go and they're going to start second guessing. They're not going to go because they're going to second guess, but you didn't second guess. You said, no, today is today. Because you've
yeah,
already been having those conversations, so you already knew it was
yeah,
coming. You just didn't know. You just needed that extra, that message to
yeah.
go. Oh
Right.
my God. Now, y'all better listen to your own stories. Now she's telling you her story. Listen to your story and make sure you have your stuff together. See, sounds like what you're saying, Jovonne, is your stuff was together. You at least thought out some stuff because you had a plan earlier. You had started putting some things in place. So you already knew because you started writing your resignation letter. You
Mhm.
already knew it was coming. So
Right.
you didn't just go to work and say, okay, it's 12 o'clock, I'm out of here. It
Yeah.
wasn't that kind of thing. You put something in place. So that's the beauty of it. So
Right.
listeners, take her advice and start putting some stuff in place and write your letter. It's a good idea to write your letter ahead of time so you can look at it every once in a while and say, hey, I'm planning for this. I just need to put some things in place before I go. And get some, just like Jovanne is saying, get some support systems, mentor, friends, family, whomever, because you're going to need it after the fact, because the emotional piece of it. Speaking of the emotional piece of it, I want to know this. What does your day look like now?
Well, my day it changes from day to day, honestly. I like to start the day by 10 o'clock. Not start my day, but start my work day.
Okay.
So I might wake up at 7:30 or as late as like 8:30
Okay.
to kind of get my life together, do some prayer, read the word or what have you, check emails,
Yeah.
just go in around 10 o'clock to just doing phone calls, responding to emails, and also just going on social media, because I like to utilize social media a lot, especially since I'm doing content marketing.
Yes.
But I utilize social media a lot to gain new leads, as well as engage people, especially in my postings.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I'm available for that, but I don't want to, I don't use so much of my time where I'm just completely focused on social, because I have other things too. So I'm a type of person that likes to create a lot of content. So I like creating things that people, once they go through the program, they'll just have extra templates that they can use and things.
Nice.
Help them. So that's what a lot of my day has come up like that. Start around 10. I might take an extended lunch because I can.
I love it because I can.
Lunch because I can, and I'm really like a work person. Like I'm a work horse. Like seriously, like even when I was in corporate, I would be doing a whole lot of stuff. Like I would take my laptop on trips.
Oh no, yeah.
It was horrible, but it wasn't all the way great either, right?
Yeah.
So I'm type of person. If I want to get something done, I really do want to get something done, and that was one of the things that I did, and that's one of the things I do even now. Like, okay, if I started working on building out something, then I'll finish it, and so I might find myself staying up super late, even though because I may have taken an extended break for about 2 hours or something like that, 2 or 3 hours, especially if I don't have any appointments or anything like that. Then I'll go back to work and just work for a very long time until I'm done. But that's just the nature of the beast. I'm still getting into the swing of things of trying to or keep it at a certain time that I'm working, so I'm not like too long in the day and and all that good stuff, and too long into the night type thing.
I think that's great advice, because I can imagine when you leave the structure of the 9 to 5, you wake up and you leave it up to yourself now to say, okay, what am I going to do with all this time, 8 hours, 10 hours, what have you? What are you going to do with it? So I think that's a good advice, to still have some structure in your day, have some time that you're going to do you, and then have some time you're going to respond back, follow up, engage, and then still get to work and do some things. Because that I think that would be the hard part. It's not just letting your time go by. The day go by pretty fast.
I think the biggest thing for me is just writing stuff down. Like, hey, I wrote down today. I may not even get to all 5 of them, but at least I wrote those 5 out. I may get done with 3 of them because they're pretty long-winded type of things that I have to do. But at least I'm doing it, and I know that I'm making it happen. And it's not like I can't beat myself up for it because I'm actually doing what I said I was going to do.
And it's good that you're starting with a list. It's always good to start with the things to do or to-do lists, whatever you want to call it, to get you going. So I'm just taking so many notes. I'm looking at my stuff and I'm like, tip number 1, tip number 2. So I'm getting my tips together. I can tell you when I get ready to move, I'm going to have tons of information, but that's what I'm doing a show for. So my next question for you is, what advice, because we're on a 45 minutes, we're doing good. We have 35 minutes. What advice would you give a future no plan B entrepreneur before they decide to leave? And you've given lots of nuggets, but what advice would you give them as far as You've given so many tips. What other advice could you possibly give?
Uh, well, I want to kind of talk a bit about it from this perspective, because I was in this place, knowing that you have goals, dreams, passions, aspirations, all those things. Don't allow yourself to become stagnant to someone else's agenda.
Love it.
Don't allow yourself to just stay there because, okay, well, this is, I can make ends meet with this,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how, this is all I know.
Right.
When God is giving you a dream, when he's giving you an aspiration, when he's giving you a vision, he's literally has already given you a purpose to fulfill this vision. Just know that he's going to help you the whole way through. Like, even for me, like, I wouldn't say that I'm 100% everywhere I need to be,
Right.
but I'm trusting this whole process and allowing him to help me and lead me through it. So if he's going to give me a vision for it,
Mm-hmm.
best believe he's going to send resources. He's going to send the help. He's going to send the support
Oh, I love it.
to make it to that level. So don't get to the point where you're like, well, I can't do this.
Right.
You still hope you can. If it felt like you tried it before and it didn't work, if it's still something that's burning and with like a serious passion and desire inside of you, listen, it's most likely something that you need to do. So
Oh,
working on that, and plan out what you're going to do, plan out what you want it to look like,
right.
plan out how you want to get there, plan out some things or people that you want to be a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
start reaching out to those people, just, have conversation. I believe in relationship.
Yes.
You can't just automatically like, well, I want such and such and so to do this, and you don't even really know them.
Right.
Start building relationship with them. Start trying to figure out, who they are, and share with who you are. Like,
Yes.
not just the business part of what you do, but
Yes.
share the person behind it, because that's what people are attracted to and they gravitate towards. So, work on building that support. Work on building a team, if you would. To make your dreams a reality. Those are some key things that I believe are helpful. I believe are necessary, especially when you're thinking about taking a leap or of even trying to take a leap. But before you even do it, just make sure that you feel capable of doing it too.
I love that you feel capable, and that's where. Oh my God, I gotta write this. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I have to write this down because I won't remember. Can I get off the show? Sorry. Because that's key. You have to feel capable. And I like that you say that, because sometimes you're capable 1 minute, next minute you're like, I'm not as confident I can pull this off.
Right.
So I like that, you say you feel capable and feel that way all the time, because if not, that jumping back and forth and on the fence and back and forth, you're always going to be in the 9 to 5, because you're not going to know when to step and put that other foot over. So I definitely like the idea of feeling capable, that you can do it, because when you're out there, I can just see myself going, did I get on the other side of this fence? I got to get back over there. Trying to knock on the door and come back to work the next week or something, because if you're really not fully into it, I can see myself doing that back and forth, and other people, if you're really not sure that's what you want to do. So I do like that, you're leaving that nugget to make sure, and then making sure that, those people are there for you. And connections. I am so big on connections, because I have a platform, Women Entrepreneurs, called Hook a Sister Up. And that's all based on connections and relationships. And I've always told people that connections are the new cash cow.
Yeah.
It's all based on connections. Simple as that. Because I always say you can hang a shingle and put a brick and mortar up all day long. But if people don't know you, you don't know them, there's no connections, somebody got to buy. Somebody got to know about you. Someone has to know of you. So you do have to build the rapport and connections in those trusting relationships that people want to do business with you. So I definitely believe in connections. So now that we've come to the end, can you give me one or two challenges that you faced since you've been on your journey? Because we've talked about the good. We want to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly, but give me some challenges you may have faced in the time you've been doing this. And then we're going to end it with letting people know where to find you.
Okay. All right. So one of the challenges that I faced is in terms of building clients, right? So I have created this a program, and I meet with people daily to discuss some options that they can work through within as they work with me. Mm-hmm. And some of the things that I've run into are like people are like, yeah, I want to do it, and then they're like, oh, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. So that's a big challenge, because it's like, okay, I'm getting the target, right? Like I'm hitting the target, but the main piece of the target is the person that's going to pay too. Right. And so that is some of the things that I have kind of gone through, and just having to be creative in terms of building out a different type of marketing, well, not different marketing strategy, but enhancing my current marketing strategy to capture the one that's going to pay. Because I run into a lot of people like, yeah, I need this, but I don't know if I can afford it. So that's been like a big piece of the challenge. But the creativity piece is where it really kicks in, and just knowing how to just approach the right paying type of client is where I'm headed. And I've actually changed up a few things, and even how I market things now too. So
nice.
Even changing things, even in my email lingo, as well as adjusting what platform I'm focusing on. Because I was focusing solely on Facebook, because I posted that. Right. I posted that message on Facebook, and I got most of the response compared to Instagram. So I'm like, well, let me focus on Facebook for a second, and doing that. But what I've run into is the main challenge of people saying yes, but no, I can't. Mm-hmm. So, let me go to a platform where I know that there may be some people that will be willing to pay for what's going on. So that's been part of the part. Mm-hmm. In terms of finding me, you can find me on various platforms. So I am on Facebook, Jovonne Walker. My business name is Think About It LLC. So it's thinking about what you're saying, how you're saying it, and who you're saying it to, so that you can win effectively win more clients with the words that you use. So you can go on Facebook and find it that way. www.thinkaboutit.llc website.
I love your name.
That's one way you can find me. Also, if you go to LinkedIn, I've been posting a lot more on LinkedIn. You can certainly find both me and Think About It. We're 2 pages on there, Jovonne Walker.